Hi everyone, I wanted to come on today and say hi. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel or being a viewer of this video. I really appreciate it. And so here we go. So I've been making these videos for about 6 months now, and people seem to enjoy them, which I really appreciate. And there's lots of other amazing magicians all over the world using first-person perspective to make amazing videos that people are enjoying. So it's definitely not just me. I didn't come up with it. I'm not the only person doing it. There's a lot to see out there. And so really, what is happening here? Well, I think there's like an illusion on multiple different levels. So first thing is like the techniques that I use, I've been working on for a long time. I'm certainly not, the best in the world at anything that I do, but I'm pretty good in certain areas. So the first thing is that, maybe you're watching these videos, you're thinking, wow, that's amazing. Well, the first thing is I put a lot of practice into the specific things that I'm doing, not just like all of card magic, but the specific things that I'm doing, years of doing exactly that. To make it kind of look the way that it does. So that's like the first sort of illusion here. I'm not just like picking up a deck of cards and doing this. Like it's my kind of like my whole life. So to a certain extent, or at least my whole career. So yeah, so that's like the first illusion. The second illusion is, the glasses, right? My hands come off the screen a lot in the glasses. And it's an illusion because you're seeing the people be amazed and be fooled, and you're also maybe amazed and maybe fooled by like the same thing, but you're not seeing the cards and you're thinking, well, I don't see the cards, and I know that's when he did something funny. And you know what? It's true that is when I did something funny. And the reality is that they don't see the cards either, right? So I'm misdirecting. I'm looking up at them. I'm able to sort of control the flow of attention in front of me with its relation to myself and the cards and the things that I'm saying, such that not only is there an illusion of like, oh, he's just using cards, but I've spent a lot of time on this very specific skill, but there's also the illusion of you guys aren't seeing the cards come off the screen when they do, but you're seeing the reaction of the people, which is the same way that you're feeling. So you think, oh, they're not seeing anything either, so he must not be doing anything. Well, realistically, like I am doing stuff, and maybe my sleight of hand is not the most amazing in the whole world, but people aren't looking because of the other skill set, which I think is even far more important than the sleight of hand, which is the misdirection, which is psychological, physical, tactile. There's all sorts of kinds of misdirection. So that's like two parts of the illusion. And then there's another part of the illusion that I think most people like wouldn't even consider, but I know it to be probably the strongest part of the illusion for me and for my videos, and that is the fact that you cannot see my face. I'm not saying that you can't see me, like obviously you can't see me in the video, but as a performer, as someone that's done this a lot, I am using my eyes and my facial expressions and the way that I interact with people and the way that I look at them to create what you're seeing in the videos. So yes, it's the magic, yes, it's the misdirection of looking and having the cards be off the camera, but it's also how I'm looking at that person, which creates the effect of how they're looking back at me. So when a magic moment is about to happen, or something amazing is about to happen, and then I look up at them, my expression when I look up at them and how I look at them and how that relates to the context of everything that's been going on and the experience that they've just had, it leads their own reaction. So this is not always going to get me great reactions. It's not always going to make people react to the magic the way that I want to. It's not always going to, get them to do what I, might want to happen. But I am affecting what you all see in the videos by the way that I look at them, and you don't see that. So I think that is another part of the illusion that maybe people wouldn't really consider. So a few other things about these videos that I've been making. You'll notice I try to mostly approach men. I'm sort of looking for this confrontational thing. When I do magic at like, events or at this sort of fair, this food fair that I was at recently, you'll notice that the tension from some of my street magic videos is not there. And the performance style is a little bit more like, oh, here, you pick a card, now you pick a card, you pick a card. And it doesn't have this same sort of vibe, hopefully, that some of my street magic videos get to. And that's really what I'm going for. Like, I enjoy doing magic in all contexts, and I'm more performative over here and less performative over here. And sometimes I'm trying too hard, and sometimes I'm not trying hard enough, and sometimes I'm rushing and tripping over myself, and sometimes I'm not. But generally speaking, I want these interactions to have tension right off the bat. Like oh, do you wanna see a card trick? And if the environment is too open to that, like, oh yeah, we do want to see a card trick, it might still be good magic and it might be good reactions, but that's sort of forcing me into oh, I'm offering to do a card trick. They want to see a card trick. We're sort of in this like busy, bustling environment where it feels like I'm supposed to come up to them and do a card trick. It changes the energy of the way that I perform. But when the people go, do I want to do a card trick? Like, who is this guy? And they look around and they're in like an empty alley. That's what I think creates a lot of the interest for me, at least, and hopefully for you guys, with some of my my better street magic videos that have sort of this through line and this tension. Also, again, with men, we want like sort of this fair playing field, and not that women are not a fair playing field, they totally are, but like you'll notice I like to like approach like groups of men because it puts me sort of in this position of like, oh well, like can he pull one over on us? Can he do magic for all us? So like we're all watching, we're like, so it puts me in like the less dominant position right off the bat, and I think that adds a lot to the videos as well. So those are some of the sort of factors at play with some of my videos. You'll notice I try and make it about the magic and the people, but I try not to highlight the people too much. There's a lot of videos that I don't share because maybe somebody said something, or maybe somebody looks a certain way, or someone did something, and I don't want the videos to be about the spectators. In a certain way, they are about the spectators and the reactions and the differences between the spectators and sort of like looking at different videos and seeing how I interact with different people. But generally speaking, I don't want the videos to be about the girl's cleavage at all, like never. That's never my goal. Likewise, I don't want, the person who doesn't know the cards, who's a full-grown adult, to have people be like, oh, people don't know the cards in the comments. It's like, that doesn't matter to me. I think that the videos are not meant to highlight, a small portion of the population or a medium-sized portion of the population that is not like immediately familiar with the deck of cards. And when I say name a card, it's like, it's a process. If they don't have cards in their life, then, so I try again to only post videos that show my spectators in a positive light, and mainly focus on the skill of the magic and how that interacts with the people in the videos, and obviously leaving everybody with an uplifting, happy experience that they can look back on fondly, and that the YouTube and Facebook and Instagram viewers can look at and say, that was fun, that made me feel good. So that's what I'm going for with the videos. So now, because you all made it here, I will continue to talk a little bit about magic and how you can think about magic and how maybe you can do some of your own magic tricks. Again, my process here on this channel, which I'm still figuring out, is not to teach you how to be a magician or reveal secrets. That's definitely not my goal at all. But I do think in the midst of all of the reveal and teaching that happens on the internet and all of like the snotty magicians and just like, I think that it's okay to help people better understand what good magic can be and the building blocks of maybe good magic. Not to say that I'm doing good magic, but just hopefully you guys are enjoying the things that I'm doing. So I'll share a little bit with you. So I think that the best kind of magic doesn't have a secret. You'll notice that in a lot of my videos, I'm using lots of techniques that are coming together to create hopefully a sum that is more than its parts. And I think that is like the key to learning about magic and how to be a magician. It's not going to a magic store and buying this trick or that trick. And obviously we all do that, or magicians all do that. Maybe not you people on the internet who aren't magicians who might be watching this video and somehow have gotten 9 minutes and 40 seconds into this video without being a magician, listening to me talk. Yeah, so it's this sum of this parts idea. You'll go into a magic store and you'll see little kids buying all these tricks, but they think like, oh, I do the trick with the chalkboard, or I do the trick with the thumb tip. But realistically, what you want is you want techniques and utilities that you can add together to create magic. Like a painter uses a specific kind of paint and a specific kind of paintbrush and a specific kind of canvas and a specific technique with the paintbrush that has a specific history. You're trying to sort of start to learn about the different techniques and ideas in magic such that you have this broader understanding of what's available, such that you combine those things and make interesting stuff happen. So, you know, a deck of cards is used by so many magicians because it's a great way to practice pretty much all of the different ideas and principles in magic using just something that you can buy at the store. So right now I'm going to teach you all something that I think is one of the best beginner ways to handle a deck of cards. And hopefully this will be useful to you. And for those of you who are magicians, this will not be useful to you, but maybe some of my ideas will be, not my ideas, but just like ideas, will be useful for your learning or understanding of how magicians think and operate. So any deck of cards can be shuffled. Doesn't matter. We have this wonderful Albanian culture-inspired deck by Prime Shuffle here, Prime Shuffle on Instagram. And so the deck can be shuffled by a spectator, by anybody, by you, a regular deck of cards. And you're going to take the cards back from the person, right? And then you're going to shuffle like this. And you're going to say stop anytime as I sort of shuffle through here. Yeah, go ahead, say stop. They say stop. Great. Can you remember this card? You got this card in your mind? I'll drop it here and go ahead and shuffle again. So, so what has just happened here? We've done something in magic that I'm sure many of you are familiar with called a force. And a force is that I've made them think of a specific card. In this case, I believe it was the Six of Hearts. Hopefully I'm right. So how does this work? Why does this work? And where are we going with this? So a force, again, we're making them choose something that we want them to choose, and it's supposed to feel like a free choice. In this case, we're not doing what many people do when they force and forcing something that we always wanted them to have. In this case, there's like kind of two things going on. We're forcing them a card that they come up with to force on their own. So they shuffle, or you shuffle, let's say they shuffle, and you take the deck back. And as you take the deck back, you are glancing at the bottom card. In this case, it's one of everybody's favorites, the Ace of Spades. So again, the cards are shuffled, and as they come back to you, you know, you see when you pull them back, it's hard to see with this deck because it's not like a regular deck, but you can see the bottom of the card there. So if this was the Ace of Spades of the regular deck, and I'm taking them back from the spectator, I'm seeing that Ace of Spades. You don't want to be like, okay, the Ace of Spades, yeah. You don't want to do that, right? You want to just quickly see it, and you can do that with your peripheral vision by talking and gesturing. Well, whatever's happened here, we've had the card shuffled, and whatever card is on the bottom will now become your force card. So again, you're not forcing a card that you wanted to force. You're forcing whatever card is on the bottom, but you know the card. So when you force it, you will now know their card. And so the way that we're going to force here is we're going to do something called the Hindu shuffle force, and that is this. So essentially, you are holding the deck in this hand, like with like two fingers here and the thumb on the other side, and you're going to pull off the top portion, like that's a few cards there, and drop it into your hand. Pull off the top portion, drop it into your hand. Now, this is a bad Hindu shuffle because what's happening here is my left hand, the hand with the watch on it that's grabbing the cards, is grabbing the cards and coming forward each time. This hand is sort of staying. And you see that card will always be the Ace of Spades on the bottom, right? Because we're pulling off the top. So no matter what, that Ace of Spades is staying there. So we'll re-put it on the bottom. So there it is. We've peeked it coming back. And now we're going to start to do our Hindu shuffle. Now the way that you make the Hindu shuffle deceptive is you don't pull off with this hand, or you don't, you know, pull back with this hand like this, but rather there's the Ace of Spades on the bottom. You sort of combine them both, right? So you're kind of coming forward with one hand, coming back with the other hand, and it's okay if some cards like fall off and it gets really like messy because that Ace of Spades is always there on the bottom. So it doesn't matter what happens with any other portion of the deck. So if I come back a little bit here, you'll see we're going to start to move like this, and they say stop, and you're going to say, great, can you remember that card? Now, there's a little bit of sort of verbal misdirection here. Because you're forcing in this moment, you're doing something secret. You're doing something, you're lying, you're cheating them. They just shuffled the cards and now you're cheating them. So unfair of you. So instead of saying something like, you tell me when to stop, great, stop, and that's going to be your card. That's a little bit forceful. Like we're saying, that's going to be your card. You chose that one, that's yours. It's like, oh, really? I want a different one, okay? Or something like this. Great. Yeah, can you take this card? You're forcing them to do something. So instead, we're sort of softening that moment by saying, you know, say stop anytime. Great. Can you remember that card? And that's a question. So they have to like go roll back in their head and think, oh, can I remember that card? Yes, I can. I mean, they're not really thinking that, but it's sort of more open-ended. You can't say no to can you remember that card? It's sort of like you're asking them politely to remember the card, but really that's the card that you want them to remember. So it just sort of softens that moment of dishonesty by asking them a question instead of giving them a command. And so they will remember that card. And then you're gonna take the deck and you're gonna place it back here and hand it out to them. So this is like very hands-off. The cards have been maybe shuffled by someone else. They've come back into your hands for a few seconds. You've peeked the 5 of spades in this case, and now you're gonna look away. You're saying, great, I'm gonna go through the deck like this. You just call stop anytime that you want. Say stop, stop, okay, perfect. Can you remember this card? You got it? Okay, here, take the deck back. So now the cards have been in your hand for a second. You've forced them a card in a pretty easy way. All you're going to have to do is sort of practice this Hindu shuffle force. And you don't come to me for it. I mean, I just showed it to you. But you go out there on the interwebs and in the books and all the places and the resources. The sleight itself is something that you will have to like learn, but it's not really difficult. But it's all the things around the sleight that make it better. So we're looking away, right? We're looking away. And they're gonna peek the card, and then they're gonna go back into their hands, and they're shuffled. So they've shuffled, they've chosen a card, they've shuffled again. The cards like were barely in your hand, and when they were in your hand, you were looking away. You weren't even looking at the cards, and this whole thing is like that looks haphazard as heck. Like that's difficult. Like there's no way that you could control that. So now, how do we then go about revealing this card? So there's like so many ways that I could teach you that are so much more amazing and deceptive than what I'm about to teach you. But I'm not trying here to give you the keys to the kingdom. I'm trying to help you see the kingdom so that you can go out and find your own keys. So this is something that I did when I was a kid all the time to reveal a known card, in this case a force, but it could be a known card in another way. And by the way, in the last video that we did that was sort of a longer variety like this one, I taught the thing where you crimp the whole deck in one direction, a card is selected, and then you crimp the deck back in the other direction. That's a location, right? That's how a card is chosen, and we're now being able to use that technique to find that card. It's maybe not something that you would use in your professional magic every single day. It's sort of like a little bit of a wonky technique. But if you go back to that video, that's a location. That's a way to find a card. And this is a way to make someone choose a card that you want them to choose, or that you know. You can do either. And so now we have like two sort of techniques that are starting to help you understand that like there's a bunch of different locations and there's a bunch of different forces. And if you know lots of these different things in these different categories, and there's going to be other categories that I'll talk about in the future, you can start to combine different versions of all of these different categories to start to create your own magic, which is really the idea here. So how are we going to reveal this Ace of Spades in an interesting way that doesn't make me tell you more magic secrets in this video? Well, so you're going to spread the cards on the table like this after they've been shuffled again by the other person, and you're going to look down, and you can see where the Ace of Spades is. In this case, it's right here. Now, what I usually used to do, and this is like before I knew any of the maybe more intricate magic that I know now, back when I was, even before I was like into magic, I used to do this. So I would know it was the Ace of Spades, and I would say, great, Sarah, so just look down. Do you see your card somewhere there? And I just slam my hand down on the deck the moment she looks down at the deck, almost as if like I saw where she looked. And that's kind of what it's implying, because I don't like this like fake mind reading stuff. Anytime that you're like acting like you're reading their body language, or any of this like sort of Darren Brownie stuff, it sort of rubs me the wrong way these days, because it's gotten so kind of far from what it should be. And so much of it is just a lie. Like on Instagram, when people make videos where they're reading your mind, like it's 100% a lie. They cut out the part where they got the information, and then they act like they read your mind. So it's just bad acting, presented as reality, as something that they're really doing. So it's just dishonesty without a real payoff. There are some people who do intricate mentalism that has beautiful systems and are really good at working with people to make it more than the sum of its parts. But if it's just you knew the information and then you're going to act like you're figuring it out now, I'm not into it at all. So anyways, here's our ace of spades, wherever it was, or maybe it's in a different place now. Where is it? There it is. It's back where, same place where it was. So you slam your hand down, and then you're like maybe moving these cards. You're acting like you just kind of saw where they looked. You didn't, but you're acting like it. But it's a funny moment because it feels like, you know, maybe they sort of gave something away. So you get these cards out of the way. You pick. Is your card one of these? Did I get that right? And they'll. Now that you're asking if their card is one of these, you're sort of implying that that last thing that you just did was like a real thing. Because, you know, if you already knew the card and you slammed your hand down on the deck, you could just point to the card and say, is that yours? But because you're sort of narrowing it down slowly, it's implying that you don't know yet without saying it outright, like, oh, I'm reading your body language, which, you know, you're kind of implying here, but hopefully it's a little bit softer and a little bit more fun and a little bit less of a dishonest ploy than just straight mind reading. So now you've got these cards here. So you could kind of like spread these out and you could, you know, do something like this, but again, that sort of wades into this like fake mind reading category. So maybe what you can do is you can deal these cards out on the table like this, and then you can get some sort of like magician's choice or equivoque going on. Now, I won't go too much into the details of that. It is a very widely known principle. You can look up for yourself, magician's choice, to understand what that is. But we have 6 cards here, so essentially you'd be narrowing it down by half first. So, you know, if you have these 6 cards, you'd be like, Sarah, just I want you to just take any 3 cards and pick them up. So let's say that, you know, she picks up these 3 and holds them in her hand. You immediately are saying, great. And you're focusing your energy on the cards that are still on the table, right? You're immediately, when she picks these up, you're acting like that's what was always supposed to happen. And obviously, if she does this, then you're focusing in the other location. So now you're down to 3, we'll say. So let's say she picked up these 3. Again, I'm not giving you the keys to the kingdom. Hopefully I'm giving you enough little tidbits for those of you who are not already magicians and don't know exactly what I'm talking about to be able to go down the rabbit hole and try and understand more of what I'm talking about and go find magic for yourself. Because I can't give you magic. You have to find it for yourself no matter what. So let's say they have the 3 cards here. The ace, the 2, and the jack. So like in this case, you could be like, great, can you just put one of those cards down on the table? And so 3 things can happen. They can put the one on the table that they want, in which case you can imagine where you might go from there. Or they can put the other 2 down on the table, and this could be someone else who's maybe not the person who remembered the card that's doing this. Because, you know, if the person who knows that their card is the ace of spades is doing this, then it kind of affects what they're doing and how it's all perceived. So maybe you're doing this with a different person. You're including more people. But, you know, if they put this down, then you can say, and was that your card? And it was. If they put this one down, then there's 2 cards left. You can say, great, hold these cards. And, you know, John, you take one of the cards from him. If they take this card, then you reveal that the one card left in their hand is the one that person thought of at the very beginning of the trick. If they take this card, then look at that. John took the card that you thought of. So again, I'm not providing a complete trick here. It got a little convoluted there at the end as to who's doing what and how it's all happening, and I sort of half explained one of the methods just to keep you in the mist. But I hope that some of this is of value to you, and you start to understand that this magic stuff that we do, in order to make strong magic, it's more a sum of its parts and a combination of principles and sort of a nuanced presentation, and, you know, how good is that peak? How light touch am I on the shuffle? How good does the shuffle look compared to other stuff? How good does the force feel? How much does it feel like I touched the cards? You know, all of these things are coming together to create amazing magic for real people in the real world from very simple props and very minimal technical skill, but a better knowledge of what magic is really created from, which is, again, a combination of those principles. So I will have to watch this video back to see if it's any good, but I hope that you all enjoyed this, and thank you so much for being a part of this channel. As always, you know, let me know any suggestions via email. You can find my email out there on the internet. Also, Yeah, I have a membership where you can sort of learn some of my more advanced magic. It is quite, advanced to a certain degree, so don't definitely do that unless you kind of already know exactly what I'm doing and you're very interested in exactly the way that I do it. It's not like just a general magic thing. It's a very specific genre of magic and a very specific place within that genre of magic. So it's really not for anybody that doesn't already know exactly what I'm doing. And then I also do virtual magic shows. So every Saturday and Sunday, I hopefully every Saturday and Sunday I do these virtual magic shows at tonightcrowd.com. And you can come from anywhere in the world. You can bring your family. You can invite your friends. If you want a free promo code, you just email me and I will give you the free promo code. But otherwise, I would love you to pay the $30 because I have a whole life to live as well. That's not what it's about, but yeah, it's great. Either way, I hope to see some of you in the future via the virtual magic show, and it is a ton of fun. And I produce the cards right for you, right there for you in real time, and it's super interactive, and it's probably the most fun you've ever had on Zoom. So this is a 26-minute long video, and I think that's it, I guess. All right, bye bye.